Fans of the Horus Heresy and Warhammer 40,000, thank you very much for joining me for an out-of-the-pack review of something a bit unusual. This kit is the Warlord Titan Apocalypse missile launchers, as we can see, by Forge World. This is the next video in my series exploring the Mars Pattern Warlord Titan kit by Forge World, and I thought today I'd share this particular kit with you, which is the Carapace mounted missile launchers for the Warlord. So in this kit you get an identical pair, and what I'm going to do is we're going to take this kit out, have a look at it, see what the quality is like. I have unboxed this kit earlier because I've had this a long time now. I haven't done any work on this, so it should be a good indication of what it's like when you buy it. So as I said, I've already unboxed this and I've got the instructions out. So I thought we'd start by just showing you the instructions for this, which is one of these new CAD style colour printed instruction booklets, which are a big step forward from what we used to get from Forge World. If you like fluff, well, there's a description. Have a pause and have a read. Unfortunately, it mentions vortex warheads. Well, in 8th edition, we don't have rules for those, but that's a story for another day. So you get an exploded diagram of the parts, and it says ×2. So it's a very simple kit, and most of the mass is taken up in the enormous launcher itself. It's pretty straightforward, this. It's got the usual instructions, and then a sequence to take you through how to build it. And as I say, it really is a very simple kit as far as these things go. The fact that it's cast without these warheads mounted in the actual launchers is very nice, because it gives you the option to put any number of warheads in to create the impression of part of the battery being fired off. I guess if you're so inclined, you could even magnetize them. That would be interesting. So yes, nice instructions. Not much to go wrong there, I suppose. Right, so let's have a look in the box. So first thing about this weighs a ton. It's a very heavy lump of resin. In terms of what this costs, the present price on this, and I'm filming this video in November 2017, is £105. I bought this example at release, and I can't for the life of me remember what I paid for it. It might have been 105, it might have been 100. I can't remember now. Anyway, but that's the costs. And clearly, you know, we're talking Warlord Titan. It's part of an enormous kit, so hence its enormous price. Right, without further ado, let's open up this box. So this is the original packaging it came with. I've not repacked it at all. You can actually see that this has been reasonably well packed. The main parts, the main components of the launchers themselves are wrapped in bubble wrap to protect them in transit. And then the smaller components are in a bag. These two are loose. So let's start then with the big boys, because I know that's what you probably want to see, and it's what I want to look at as well. Now, this is a hefty bit of resin. This is a big old chunky thing. So let's have a look around. I seem to recall from when I bought this originally, I checked it over and I thought the quality on it was good. Let's revisit that here though. So we've got quite a bit of a seam to take away on that ridge. It's not too bad. I mean, I've done some work on the Sunfury Plasma Annihilator, which has the same sort of design theme on the housing of its Plasma Annihilator, and that had a similar sort of turnout to this in terms of what the kit was like, so that will clean up fine. I'm thinking of drilling all these little apertures through, so that'll look rather cool. Right, but apart from that, do we have any dramas? Or is this going to be passed with a clean bill of health? It's got this enormous key on it, which makes it quite hard to get a view in for you all. Yeah, that's good. Nice alignment on these very fine rivet details next to the key. And then coming around here and on the underside, that all looks good. Overall, I think, oh, I see, that's how they made it. So they've split the mold down here, and it opens up like that. That's why this is so well formed, as you can see. There's no seam or anything running across here. That looks really good, yeah. For such a large piece of resin as well, that's well cast, and they've done a good job at making sure that the mold halves are properly aligned here. Bit of cleanup here, as I say, but nothing dramatic or anything like that. So there's the first one. Well, that was quite menacing pointing at me, doesn't it? Let's do the second of the two Apocalypse launcher bodies. Like the first part, this feels pretty dry. Not a lot in the way of mold release agent to clean off. There's a little bit, I can feel a little bit of greasiness, but it's pretty good actually. So let's do the same drill. There's a little bit of a distortion there. You can see this cowl is slightly out of shape. Let's just go back to the original one to compare. Yeah, you can see that this one looks pretty cool. This one's slightly distorted, so that'll just need heating up to straighten it out, but no big drama. Conversely, on this ridge here, this spine, the alignment's better than on the first one. Bit of cleanup to do down here, but pretty mild, I would say. Let's have a look on the underside. Little odds and ends of cleanup to do. What's that alignment there like? That's good as well. A few little air bubbles. I found with working on parts for the Warlord kit that there were a fair few air bubbles on the upper surfaces to clean away. You can kind of see with casting a piece like this, if you've got any air in the mould and it rises, if it gets into this rim, it can't go back down even when being vibrated. So I guess with a design like this, a bit of air bubbling is par for the course, but as long as it's these tiny little micro air bubbles, they're very easy to put right. So those big nasties we don't want. That's beautiful. Yeah, very nicely done. I chose these two for my initial selection on my Carapace weapon option because I used to play Epic back in the day of Adeptus Titanicus, and back then there was a variant of a Warlord Titan which was called the Nemesis class. And the most powerful Nemesis class Titan in the game was armed with a pair of defense lasers, i.e. volcano cannons, and a pair of, what was it? Was it 4-barreled multi-launchers? I think so, on the Carapace. So basically it was configured exactly as this picture. And that kind of attracted me to this. I also think they're better balanced with the whole Titan than the laser blasters, which I think are a little bit on the big size and make it look top heavy. That's a personal view. That said, who knows, I might buy those laser blasters in the future, and the way these are designed, they're very easy to magnetize, so you can swap them. Good, let's now have a look at the actual mounting unit. So that sits onto a mounting block on the Warlord's upper carapace like that. Oh, it's kind of like on the shoulder actually. So what are these like? I've got a bit of cleanup to do on this inside. That doesn't look too bad actually. I think that looks worse than it really is. I mean, looking at that, I can tell that's going to be a doddle of cleanup. A bit of filing and sanding, that's all. A bit of cleanup there. Got a bit more release agent on this perhaps, a bit slippier. Got an air bubble to fill there. It's a bit of a... It's not in the best place, but it's not in the worst place either. And a little bit of sanding just to do there to take that away if you're really perfectionist like I am. Just so you know, this is going to drop in here like that, so it's got a good range of motion. When I mount this, I'm going to put a big hefty pin in there to hold it. Not really bothered about these moving. I think it's a little bit over the top, a little bit unnecessary. So that looks good. Let's do the next one. So similar sort of cleanup to do around here, as you can see. Got the same little nodule there. You see that little nodule of resin? So that's a little imperfection in the mould that's come through in the same place on both kits. Bit of release gunk to clean off there. Got a slight mould break in there, you can see. So that'll need cleaning up and smoothing away. I mean, that's just excess resin where the silicone mould has broken on the previous cast. Fortunately, we've got decent demarcation on the rivet, so that's not too bad. Good. Happy with that. Let's look at the bag of the smaller components. So this has got the launch exhaust vents, the warheads, and then a set of actuator arms for the front of the launchers. Let's do the actuator arms first. So these are classic sort of parts to test whether or not they were well turned out. Got a bit of a mold slip there and there to clean away. And again, a bit of one there. Not too bad actually. Most of that piston is going to be hidden in the actual sleeve, receiving sleeve, so that won't show through too much. Okay, that's fine. No issues there. Let's have a look at these. A little bit of seamage to clean up here and here, same place as the other that we looked at. But other than that, that one is fine as well. Let's do the vents and then we'll have a mad frenzy on the warheads. So these are going to slot into the back of the actual launcher. Beautiful detailing. So much detail on the Warlord Titan, it's unreal. Very good, that's nice. And let's do the second one of those. Very good again, no dramas. Yeah, very nice and clean as well, those parts. Right, then we get one, let's count these in. We get 1, 2, 3, 4. You get 8 sets of warheads on these little keys. So we'll quickly flick through the 8. So they look nice. Yeah. As you can see, you know, these are just going to stick in there like that. Very good. The first 5, and these are, well, these are 6s. Yeah, these come in 6s. Yes, there's 24 tubes in each launcher. Of course, it doesn't actually explain it in the rules, but you imagine that these missiles are probably some sort of cluster munition. Certainly how the rules work in the game, that's how they seem to be. And then of course you have the option of using these as incinerator missile banks as well, where the warheads are optimized for killing infantry more than vehicles. So that's the first 4 done, no problems at all looking very good. Admittedly, there's not much really to go wrong with these, you would hope, but you know, it's a split mold, so there's an opportunity on every occasion for a mold seam or displacement. Those are good. Those are good, and then moving on to the final one. Also great. Well, there you go. I was very pleased when I got this kit originally. It's been very nicely turned out. And as far as Forge World kits go and resin kits go in general, there's very little cleanup required here. I mean, this is what I'd say is an excellently produced resin kit. So, you know, 10 out of 10 to Forge World for the quality on this particular example. So very good. So there you have it, the Mars Pattern Warlord Titan Apocalypse missile launchers by Forge World. Please let me know what you think about these weapons. How do you think these compare, both in terms of in-game performance and appearance, to the laser blasters? And I'll be very interested to hear about the in-game performance. I actually think these are a bit of a hidden gem in terms of battlefield performance. If you're playing really, really long-range battles with, you know, if you're sort of playing Titan versus Titan battles, I'd say at ranges over 150, 200 inches, a Titan armed with a pair of these and 1 or 2 volcano cannons will beat a Titan armed with the laser blasters and a pair of volcano cannons every time. These can wear down void shields in 7th edition like nobody's business, and in 8th edition they can just saturate the opposing Titan with a continuous rain of firepower, and some of the shots will get through. I actually think battlefield wise they're really effective as well. Then you can use them as incinerator missiles, and then they also work fine for a vortex missile battery in 7th edition as well, in the Horus Heresy at least. As I say, let me know your thoughts on the aesthetics and in-game performance of these versus the other Carapace option, the laser blasters. I'll be continuing on with my series of videos about the Warlord Titan over the next 3 to 4 weeks, all being well, so do keep an eye out for more such videos. I've got a couple more unboxings to do, and then I'm going to start getting into some of the kit reviews, starting with the body, going through all the weapons, etc. And we'll see where we end up. But other than that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.